So welcome to Path of a Plumber podcast. I'm here with Larry Enright, the owner and CEO of Option One Plumbing, Drain and Sewer Services. You also are the owner of SkyBoss. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, good. So I know you're busy and you got a lot going on. So maybe you could tell us just a little bit about because you have a couple different businesses that you're doing on top of the plumbing business. Just kind of recap everything that you're doing now.
Yeah. So the software business kind of came in a little bit later down the line. After years of being in business, I've been in the plumbing trade for about 30 years now. So after going through dozens of different software companies and trying to get something that worked, they were good in one aspect and then bad in another. So I decided to start, just building my own software. So that's kind of how that came about. Like you would think, how is a guy in plumbing and software at the same time? It's kind of a little odd combination. So I just got a little sick and tired of not, having the right software. So we decided to start our own and build our own. And during that process, I sold a company that I had, a plumbing company at that time. And I didn't really have any intentions on getting back into the plumbing business. Then when it was time to test the software after, doing some development, I was having a hard time finding people to test it. So I was, I'll just get a couple trucks and start, get a little something small going so I can test it in real life. And so I started testing it, and then here we go. We now have 5 locations in different states. So it's just kind of grown into a little monster now.
Yeah. And so obviously you started out, as a plumber in the plumbing industry. You opened up a plumbing business, and it was in that first business is when you kind of started the software company.
Yeah, that's right. So I have a whole family full of plumbers. So I worked with my brother doing new construction, just like everybody else's story. They start off, they get dragged into it. That was kind of the same story. So, didn't finish high school, anything like that, went straight to work and started new construction. Then over time, I moved into the service and repair part of plumbing.
And you said that what drove you to start your own software company was just, you were trying to use other people's stuff and you decided to do it. What were some of the softwares you were using, not to talk negatively, but that prompted you to kind of try your own?
Well, I think one of the first ones that I used, which I don't know if a lot of people have heard about, it's called Intact. Well, it's called WinTact, but before it was Windows version. This is back in the DOS version days.
Yeah.
It was called Intact. And that was really frustrating because that was back when you stored everything on your computer and you had to back things up every night and keep a copy at home, keep a copy in the safe, just lots of work. And so that was one of the first ones. And I remember paying a couple girls for like 8 months, going back like 10 years and putting invoices in the system so I can have all the history. And we were like 8 months into it, and the computer crashed, and I lost everything. I was so frustrated. So that was a big problem. And then over time, we've used you name it, almost all of them. I never not any of the new ones like Service Titan or Field Edge or House Call Pro. Those are all new. So not new, but newer. I guess they are new. So prior to that, it was a bunch of old stuff, Successware, and just. Yeah. Nothing that's cloud-based. It was all, you had rooms, like we moved offices one time and we had to build like a special room with climate control and all this stuff for the computers and the servers. And it was just a train wreck. So like, can all be online, like my email? And that's when we started developing. So.
Yeah. And so are you specifically geared towards plumbing and the service, or any kind of home service can use the software as well?
Anybody can use it, but it's really geared towards plumbing is where we started. So about 80% of our clients are plumbing contractors, mainly service and repair. We have some septic and HVAC.
Yeah. And can you talk about just some of the functionality, how it works, kind of what separates you in the market a little bit?
Yeah, so it's very similar to like a Service Titan as far as features and stuff like that. They got it right out of the gate. Actually, we started developing our software at the same time Service Titan started developing software. So we got pretty much at the same time, and then they got a boatload of money and investors, and then they just took off, and obviously they dominate the market at the moment. So, but yeah, it's the problem with other softwares, or a lot of them, is they have, you know, computer engineers that are developing these things, and they talk to people and say, what do you want in a software? And they do interviews, and then they try to build it, but they don't have a clear understanding of little small intricacies that we faced during the flow of, you know, from the marketing or from the phone call all the way through, and even aftercare. Like a lot of guys don't even follow up with a customer afterwards, or stay in touch, or send reminders, or any of that stuff. So you can automate that process. You can, you know, spend less money in marketing and chasing new customers, and, you know, nurse your own existing customers, you know?
Yeah. And so because you've ran that business, you've kind of created it to work around what you were actually doing.
Yeah. And it was funny because when I first did it, I had these papers all on the walls, you know, and it was at my house. So like big sheets of paper, and I did this flow chart all around this room. And I thought, okay, once we get this thing built, we're done. And I was wrong, like big time. So
Never
it's like,
ends, yeah.
never ends. Yeah. So you wind up dealing with other, you know, other companies, and they just run things just a little different, or, you know, they dispatch a little different. So now you have to do all this customization. And, but yeah, it's everything's there. It's, all the sales tools are there. You know, price book is built in, option sheets are built in. So it's all the tools that you pretty much need. And we have small one-man operations all the way up to, you know, 100 truck operations. So.
Oh, nice. And so obviously you as a company focus on drains, or do you do all service plumbing? Because it's option one, plumbing and drains. So I figured drains was probably a focus for you.
Yeah, drains is where the money's at, as far as I'm concerned. It's just too easy for customers to look things up online now and go, you know, look up a serial number or a model number and go, wait a minute, you charge me what? They don't take all that stuff into consideration of what it really costs to run a, you know, company. So, but when it comes to drains, you know, you're cleaning them, but when you're repairing them or replacing them or lining them and whatever, there's really nowhere for them to shop to figure that out, you know? So you get a lot less complaints when it comes to that type stuff. It's much easier to train a guy to go clean drains and versus being a plumber. A lot of states you don't need a license to clean drains, so it's a little bit easier, you know, versus going through a 4-year apprenticeship, that type stuff. Nowadays, seems like the generation now is just they're a little I guess impatient, and so they don't want to spend the next 4 or 8 years before the career starts paying off, unless you're going to be a fireman or something like that. But when it comes to plumbing, they're not interested. So that's it's a little, you know, it's pretty tough. So
yeah. And so you said that you work pretty closely with a lot of different companies as well, right? Like a lot because of probably your experience in the business and the software side. You do a lot of coaching and kind of helping other companies, right? Can you talk a little bit about just that?
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times I'll jump on, not so much anymore, but I'll jump on and help people just kind of understand the software or give them some tricks and tips and whatever. And then you start developing these relationships. Well, then it just started eating up too much time, because now they always call with a question, or can I get some advice on this? And it was like, at some point, it's like, I have to stop this because I'm just wasting my whole day, you know, helping people. So I finally stopped it, and some would still call the office and go, can I get on with Larry? And, you know, maybe I'll pay for his time. And so it kind of, now that developed into like some coaching, you know, one-on-one private coaching. And then that worked out pretty good. So I started developing some relationships. That's actually one of my partnerships that I have in South Carolina. That's actually how that partnership in the business developed. So I was doing private coaching with him, and he also did new construction. He comes from the new construction, and he still owns a construction company too, or a plumbing company. but he wanted to get in their service and repair, and he was just having a hard time wrapping his head around the service and repair and, just charging correctly and things like that. So he was struggling with it. And so he just asked me to join him as a partner. He goes, I know you have other partnerships. And I said, yeah. And he said, how's that work? So I told him a little bit about it. And then from there, he said, well, you want to partner here? And he gave up 50% of his company, and voila, we went to work. So yeah, I flew out. I said, well, let me come out there and meet you, whatever. I never met him, and face to face. So I flew out there, met him, talked to his guys and everybody there, and they were just really super cool people, and we clicked right away. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. So yeah, worked out great.
Nice. And so what advice would you give to someone? Obviously you've been very successful. You've done a lot of different things in the industry. What would you give someone just getting started out in the plumbing industry? What would you give them as advice?
So if I had to guide somebody, I just got this question the other day from a guy that was just starting his business and just signed up with our software. And he said, is there any advice? And the advice that I gave him was to go more after drain cleaning than plumbing repairs. For one, you don't need a lot of, money, like outlaying a lot of money for it. Like I said earlier, you can train people. There's a lot of money in repair and, many different ways to clean a drain, and it'll develop into other plumbing stuff too. But if you kind of specialize in that one area, which is kind of what we do, I mean, I would say probably 80 to 90% somewhere in there is drain cleaning. And we do quite well, with just that. But I mean, we do other stuff, water heaters and so forth, but I don't market for it really.
Yeah.
So I would say stick with the drains, especially if I was starting today, because there's not a lot. It's not easy to, just find a plumber. They're not knocking on your door like they were 10 to 15 years ago,
Yeah, that's actually, I swear to you, I have that same conversation every day when I talk to plumbers. They'll be like, oh, I want water heaters. I want them. Like, man, just do drains. The calls are cheaper. I can get you more of them. It doesn't matter. And even if I get you a water heater call, you're not going to make very much. By the time you pay me, you pay for the lead, you get out there, you pay for the water heater, you pay for labor. Like you're talking $100, $200 probably if you're lucky, versus if you do the drain cleaning and that guy calls you for the water heater, you're going to be able to charge probably more and you didn't pay for the lead. So it's a lot more profitable if you do the drain and then he calls you for the water heater versus you go in for the water heater. And if he's searching online, he's probably a price shopper. So you can't charge a lot. It's just, and I have that conversation all the time with people and they're just like, and I'm just like, just do drains, man. You make so much more money.
It's just so much easier. And there's many different ways to clean a drain, So,
yeah.
I mean, I'll give you an example. We clean drains for $68, and people go, how the hell do you clean it for $68? And it's like, well, because we go in and give them options and they don't always pick the $68 one. But we explain to them about jetting or descaling and, whatever, depending on the house and the age of it. But when you start talking about that, and then there's a certain percentage of them that become repairs too, the drain's broken or rotted or whatever.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, you start running an average ticket. And I think ours is like, as of last week, we were right around $1,500 average ticket. So how do you do $68 drains, but your average ticket's $1,500,
Yeah, I have that conversation every day with people. I have, what the fight that I have with some of my clients sometimes on this is they'll be like, I'd rather do a free estimate. I'm like, okay, so you would rather drive all the way to the guy's house completely for free, give him an estimate whether it's a 99 or a 69 or whatever your special is, at least you're going out there and the guy's financially committed to something. Versus you're willing to roll your truck for free to go give an estimate. He's like, I make more money on the free estimates. I was like, it's impossible. It's impossible that you're making. He's like, he's like, get me free estimates and I'll make more money. I'm like, no, it's in your head that you're doing it for less. You're getting stuck on the special. And I have one client specifically who we're running a drain special for him, and the way the dispatchers, they're trying to only find people that qualify for the special. I'm like, that's the opposite of what you want to do.
So you probably get those guys that go, I'm not taking my snake off the truck for less than, $180 or whatever.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just figured it out. Yeah, and the thing is, if you look at the majority of the larger companies out there that are thriving, most of them do drains at a decent price. They're not always $60 or whatever, but they might be $99 or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not, I'm going to charge $300-400 to clean a drain. No, most of them are they make their money in drains.
Yeah.
Just why would you try to reinvent the wheel when it's all the proof is right there? So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're on the same page with that.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's my thing is I think I told you that I'm actually considering, and I'm working on building out something called the Drain University, where I teach people how to make money in drains, because I can generate unlimited drain calls, but if you can't make money, then it's worthless to everybody,
Right. Yeah. And there is, if you did bring a bunch of drain calls for somebody, of course, marketing, is not cheap. So, and you did some sort of special $68 or $99, whatever it is. If that's all you did was went and did those jobs, you're not going to make money, so you have to, there's a process that you have to go through. Right. And you got to offer other stuff. And, like with us, we do for $68 and we even camera the line. It includes a camera for $68. Yeah. It's like, but the camera is not for the, we're running the camera, and some people say, well, doesn't that look kind of like you're trying to sell them something or you're looking for more? And it's like, no, we tell them, okay, we're going to clean the drain and I'm going to we tell them scope, because most people get it. So we'll say, we'll scope the line and we'll see, make sure that we got everything nice and clean for you. And then once we, now the seeing is believing, we get the camera in the line, we show them what's going on. Okay, let's move to a different.
What I've seen a lot of guys do is they just say, look, I'll clear your line for $49, $59, $69, $99, but I can't give you a warranty until I put a camera in it, because I don't know what's inside of there. So I can't trust that this line isn't going to fail in a day or two unless I put my camera in there. So I'll clear it, but if you want the warranty to come with it, I got to put a camera in it. And 99% of the time, there's something big or wrong in there, but you get the camera in there. And that's when you have your opportunity to sell or give other options to say, okay, I cleared the line. If you want me to clean it with a descaler, it's $300. If you want me to jet it, it's $500. If you want me to line it, it's $2,000. You know what I mean? It gives you that opportunity to talk about that other stuff.
Yeah. Are most people charging to run the camera?
The guys that make money don't.
Yeah, don't charge. You're right there, and it's so easy to run the camera. So yeah, definitely wouldn't charge.
Yeah.
I know it sounds funny to, to a lot of people. They just like, I don't get it. You're crazy, but it beats the hell out of a free estimate. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't do free estimate.
Yeah. So look, it's a great episode so far. Is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't talked about? I mean, we covered a lot of ground already, but.
Yeah, no, I think we covered some ground. I think if you have the right people on your team and the right stuff, and get pointed in the right direction for those, that are starting out or want to start out, it's a great business. And if you do it the right way, like if, they had people like you on the team that, brought the calls, and then they had the right, software to track it and the right sales process. If you put all those things in the puzzle, you're really not going to lose. And I know things do sound crazy from time to time, but if you just learn from certain people and trust those people and just follow the process, you'll win hands down, and the business will treat you quite well. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think the mistake that I see a lot of people make, because I'm the marketing guy, I get your phone to ring, but that customer, this is the way I try to tell everyone, anyone that's Googling for a plumber is a foster client, meaning they don't have a plumber that they trust to work with. That's why they're on the internet randomly searching for someone, randomly having someone come out. So my opportunity that I generate you has a value, but the lifetime value of that customer is so much greater if you foster that, you follow up, you have an email, you have a text message, you have a process to stay in front of that client. The water heaters and the service work becomes so much more profitable because you're not paying for that call. That customer's your client already because you did a great job on it. Even if all you do is really go clear the line for the $68 and that's all you make, that customer is going to call you back for something else. especially if you actually honored the special, you did it, you cleared the line, you took care of him, he's calling you back. Most people lose on that part with a lot of the customers I generate from them. They don't have a process to follow up. And if they did that, that lead would become so much more valuable than what I originally got them in the door for, you know, and they miss that a lot.
You know, every job that we do, that I send out a thank you card when we're done, and I also send them like a kind of a, it looks like a credit card, but it's a rebate card for next service. And I probably sign, I would say anywhere between 50 to 80 checks a week on cards that come back. I mean, stack every Monday I sign checks, rebate cards. So so every customer gets a thank you card. It's handwritten to them. You know, whatever drain we cleared is like you know, whatever it is. You know, we reference that. Thank you for allowing our, you know, use our service. Here's a gift card if you decide to use this in the future, or you can refer a friend. You know, anybody can use it, and it's usually about like 10% of a value. If we had recommended something, you know, for example, like let's say whatever descaling $300. Then we'll give them like $100 gift card, so they can save $100 off of it, or $50 or whatever. So I have a bunch of different things like that, and a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. So in the software, we have a little document section. So I have some of this stuff like documented on processes, and then you can follow those processes. You know, so there's some stuff there to help as well.
No, that's a great idea.
With this university thing, I'd love to participate with you on that, because I've been thinking about that for a long time.
Yeah, because that's what I was on my team. We always talk about it. It's like we have the golden ticket of unlimited drain calls, but not every plumber is built equally. So we can start up a guy. I can tell him the system. I could build the landing page. I could turn it on. His phone's ringing, and he literally calls me and says, "Please turn it off. I can't make money on these calls. I can't do this." And you're just like, man, I am the goose that's laying the golden egg, and you're refusing to take the freaking golden egg. Like, this is crazy. And so it's like, I'm just going to teach them. I'm just going to teach them how to make money. I'm just going to find them and build them myself so I can be successful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, I've had a few people hit me up about partnering up with them, which eventually I think that's kind of my path of where I'll go. I'll just eventually start partnering up with people, and because we have all the processes and everything in place already. So, but there's a few that I've talked to previously, and we'll talk about this kind of about drains and whatever. And when their mindset is that whole thing, like, I'm not pulling my snake off the truck and all, I basically just shut it off. I'm like, okay, this is not the right fit for me.
Yeah.
You're not even open to it. Like, you have to open your mind to this process and try it on. What do you have to lose? If you do it, if we give you a little process or tell you exactly what to do, and you do it for a month and you don't make any money, okay, fine. You'll make some money.
Yeah.
You'll make real money if you follow all of it, right?
Yeah.
But people, like you said, they give up. Turn it off. I'm not making money because they don't have the right processes. That's why.
What is your price point on average for the software, like per user? How do you guys price it?
Yeah, it's per field user, per tech, $150, $149
per user.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't charge for office users or any of that. There's no long contracts. So yeah.
What I would love to do, because, you know, I think one of the mistakes some of the guys that I work with is they don't have the marketing mind for it. And because I'm controlling the lead flow in, it would be great if I could learn the automated system and give them that to where my leads are coming in, the calls being tracked, and then I help them with the automated process, because some of them just don't have it, or they're 3-man shops, or, you know, they don't have that technical background to even take even if you give them the software, they may not implement like they should, you know? So maybe that's something we could talk about later, because I do have a lot of guys that I know I have some big guys, they're already on Service Titan and they're already going down that road, but there's a lot of guys that are between like 1 and 5 that aren't doing that yet. They don't have that kind of budget to bite off big enough, and they need that system. If I'm generating them 10 calls a day and they don't have a system to follow up and follow through, then they're going to fail, you know?
Yeah, and believe it or not, some people, I've had some people say $150 a month per person. That's expensive. And like, I always tell them, I'll guarantee you that I'll 10X your money. Just follow these 3 little rules, these steps right here. And I guarantee you your money I'll 10 times. So, if you just use the tools that are in it, or even not even all the tools, just a portion of the tools, it will definully pay for itself.
Maybe could we maybe set up a demo of that? Because what I would, like one of the things we do is we provide a script for our drain calls, because you'd be amazed how many people don't know how to book a drain call. And so we provide a script and monitor the calls and listen to them. And I usually provide a script for them. So it would be great if I had, understanding your software and maybe position it into the sale and include it to where I send the lead, track it, maybe upload a script for them and show them how to dispatch right from there. Because a lot of these guys, especially at $149, if I included it in it, we could get them started and at least get them on that pathway to building a system out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. We should do that. We should do a little demo, and I'd like to talk about scripts. I mean, I studied scripts for years, and I have some pieces that might work, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on the script that we use.
Yeah, because we provide this, because what we do, here's how I built the script. I probably listened to 1,000 different drain calls, and there's basically 5 questions that you need to know the answer to book a call. And if you know the answer right away, you're going to book that call 80-90% of the time. You know what I mean? And if you don't answer these questions right, people aren't going to book. If you don't clear the line, what happens? What if I don't have an accessible clean out? What happens? What if you have to get on a roof? What happens? There's about 5 questions that pretty much come up on every drain call. We've listened to thousands of them. And so we've kind of sat and just figured it out. Like, here, just answer because we really have lost clients because they don't book the call. And it's like, you're not booked. It has nothing to do with us, So we've tried to create every reason for someone to not cancel us because our drain campaign is so good,
Yeah, that's even in our software. We have a call booking screen, right? And on there's a drop down when you, like, let's say it's a kitchen sink, or it could just be a drain in general. Yeah. But then you can customize the questions, and all you do is type in the answer. So you can have somebody that doesn't even know the business answering your phone, and what are you calling in for? A water heater, a drain, or whatever it is. Click on the drop down, and then just ask the 5 following questions. Yeah. Put in the answer. Now the technician's armed with everything, So.
Yeah, so it's great. You want to shout out? Sorry to cut you off, but we're kind of going off into a different thing now. You want to shout out your information if maybe someone wants to get a hold of you for the software and some help?
Yeah, sure. I usually, I have a couple different emails with the different businesses, but I use Larry@skyboss.com as my email. And I don't care. I could throw my cell phone number up too. If somebody wants to reach out, directly is the best way to get a hold of me via text message or phone. And that phone number is area code 909-373-7350.
All right. Well, that's a great episode, and we'll chat after this, but let's close out the podcast part.